Hey, what's up? This is your girl Dragon. It's time for another live tutorial from the Creative Block Discord. We have a question coming in from Autobots. The Pillars game, you're going to run into some challenges. So I'm going to go ahead and show you a few of those challenges you'll run into. Specifically, if you're building pillars like these that you see so often in the games, these are probably games using UEFN, and they have a lot more options that you don't have in Fortnite 1.0. So I'm going to go ahead and start the game, and you guys can see how these different pillars are working, which ones are not working, and then I'll explain to you guys how they are working. All right, let's do it. All right, first things first, let's get with what's not working, right? So let's grab a few of these. All right, I can only do four. Four is good enough, right? So let's say you build a pillar like this in Fortnite 1.0, and this was actually advice that I did provide to Autobots at first, but then I realized there's more adjustments that need to be made because if you're building something like this, yeah, it works if you just need to build, right? That's fine. That's the whole thing. However, the player, let's say, the player falls, they can't build, right? And let's say you want players to throw like porta forts and stuff. Well, you see, it works on a build alone, it works perfectly. But if they throw it on the pillar itself, like right in the middle, the whole thing goes to ruin. It's gone, man. So that's not going to work in Fortnite 1.0. You got to do something a little bit different. So let's take a look at the ones that are working, right? So here you can see an example. Oh, I'm sorry. This is actually one that doesn't work with porta forts, but they do work if you're just trying to build, right? So this is an example. You can see I have some primitive shapes here, and inside of these primitive shapes, I have embedded these hover platforms, and then I have build on top, right? And I put that, I basically combined it into one, so it kind of looks like this. And you can always like increase the size of the primitive shape so that it hides these things, or you can like, add little, indentions or whatnot, like add extra build around it so it can like have some structured shape. Um, but you can see here that when you get on this, you can build just fine. And if the player falls, they can build, which is really cool, right? However, this one, because it's a primitive shape, you cannot throw anything. Um, you can only throw it on the build itself, right? You see? So that still works. If that's something you're going for, then that would be an option for you. All right, so let's go ahead and go to the next option. All right, so this is basically, you can see 4x4 um, built with the porta fort walls, right? I just grabbed the walls and built it. Inside of these are the hover platforms as well, just like inside of these, just like this. And here you can see that. And let me go ahead and, there we go. So here you can see that you can build, and if you fall, or if your players fall, they can still build, they're good, right? And if you need to throw like a quarter fort on top, it's just fine, right? So that's another option. You can try that out. And then this is one that's hollow without the hover platforms, and it works just the same. And you can see I've already went through building here, but you can do the same without the hover platforms, right? So that's an option, and you can also throw that on. Now, next is, let's say you want to use, you don't want to use these types of things. You want to use something like this I got from a gallery. I believe it's the Rig Gallery, and it looks pretty cool, right? And this is kind of like sandwiched in between. You have your prop, and then in between you can see there's a build. And then it's like a sandwich, so it's one layer on top of a layer, and so on. And this, I'll just destroy this. Allows you to build just the same as you see, and if the player falls, they can build, right? Which is exactly what you want. And now if you want them to throw any type of porta fort, you're going to run into that issue. But if there's build around, they should still be able to throw it, right? If there is, let's see, yeah, so they won't be able to throw it on the prop itself, but they'll be able to throw it on the board. Next is, let's say you're using like regular walls. This is from the dojo, I believe, right? And it's a really cool wall. And you can see embedded in it, inside of it is builds, right? You can see that. And you can actually thicken the wall so that it doesn't show through. But I think it looks kind of, you know, kind of different. It's right. It's cool. So I went ahead and left it right. So you can see here, if you kind of increase the size and thicken it, you can hide it just well. And players are, I'm going to destroy this, are able to build. And let me go ahead and grab another one of these things. And you're able to throw down, right, without destroying everything. So let me go ahead and end the game. And I'll just kind of like break these apart so you guys can like see what's going on inside of them. That way you can, think about building your own. Another important thing is to make sure that your grid snap is on a grid snap of 2. Some things you'll have to build as props. You need to make sure this is turned to disabled. So keep that in mind. Not all things, but some things. You'll have to experiment to see which ones require that. All right. So let's see here. You can see there's build wall inside of that, like that. And if you want to, right now this is build as prop. So I'm just going to thicken it a little bit, right? And you can like kind of hide it like that, which is really neat, really cool. All right, there it goes. Right, so it's really hidden there. And you'll do the same with the top. As well. And you'll see that players can, sorry, around, right? And that's the point. So if you don't want it to show, you would just basically increase the thickness so that it doesn't happen. And then this one, just kind of take all this off. You can see there's build underneath each layer. That one you can barely see it. You can see it at the bottom, and you can see that one at the top. So they're in between, like, you know, like a sandwich. And that allows the players to build on grid. And again, this is all built on grid, right? Make sure that's, you strive for that, right? And then this one, you can already see it's hollow and built on grid, and it can build. This one, I'm gonna go like inside of here. And you can see this one has hover platforms and build on top of the platforms um, as well. And then of course this one is, I'll just pull this apart. It's a primitive, just like that. So important things to remember. Building on prop, you just go to, well, on PlayStation 5, you press your middle menu, um, and you would basically go to building as prop and go to disabled. Make sure you do that. And this is, when you have it on build as prop, it'll look kind of like this, right? It's going to see how it like just snaps to grid, um, which is really great. And what I did was I laid down one and then I grabbed it and then I kind of like turned it around. So I grabbed it, copied it, and then I turned off build as prop and then I built up. Because you see when I grab this as build as prop, is going to do that, right? So I went here and I went disabled so that I can still grab it normally and then I can build, right? And then I put the walls inside. It's important that you do put the walls inside when working with these types of props, okay? And let's see, that's about it. I mean, that's the gist of it all, of how to create a working Pillars game in Fortnite 1.0. I mean, we do have to be creative and find workarounds compared to UEFN, but you can see there are some that you can do. I do hope that this video helps you and gives you ideas on how you can be more creative to create a Pillars game that works with Porter Forts and that allows players to build all the way down if that's what you want them to do. All right, thanks for tuning in for this quick live tutorial, and I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, bye.